Welcome back to the Nutrimedical Report. Joining me is Bobby Walton from Alamax, the Alamax capsule, 180 milligram, Alamax cream, Alamax drops, 10 drops equals 1 capsule, Alamed. And by the way, people need to understand that these are prescriptions prescribed by magnificent deities, MDs, in Australia, New Zealand, Great Britain, Europe, and you don't need a script in order to order these. In fact, we have many people from these countries ordering from us directly because they don't want bad things to happen. I had a consult yesterday from a nice lady who ended up going to her nail place, and they did a surgical procedure, in a sense inadvertently, treating her nails, and they cut into the bone of her toes and caused a serious bone infection. Now, the conventional knucklehead doctors would probably give her something to start with, which would be relatively useless, like Augmentin. And what would happen is the infection would spread, then they'd have to jump in 3 or 4 days later as it spread up the foot to give her a PICC line and real powerful antibiotics to stop it, and maybe even do a surgical procedure or put drains in. Now, if you simply start taking Alamax right away, or Alamed, bye-bye infection, because it goes right through the biofilm, kills off fungus, bacteria, and viruses. And the problem is, you see, usually an infection is what we call polypathogenic, which means whether it's chronic lung infection, people with say, bronchitic pneumonia or asthma. Most people don't realize rhinovirus subclass 3 is present in the bronchi and the respiratory bronchioles of people with chronic asthma. They don't just have benign passive, swelling of their airways or airway spasm. They got chronic pathogenesis. People with chronic periodontal disease, they have chronic nanobacteria in their mouth. You start taking Alamax, and by the way, your gums start bleeding. You take Alamax, Alamed, and the risk that, for example, a virus could activate in your 7th decade and turn into dementia stops. We have women who start taking it, and they've had previous infections with herpes, vaginal herpes, nasty stuff. And it stops. They don't get it. They go into total remission as long as they continue taking their Alamax every day. We have people that have had an abnormal pap smear, human papillomavirus, which causes 6% of all cancers on Earth are caused by HPV, which is why the idiots try to push Gardasil, which is a dangerous as hell vaccine that doesn't solve it. All those women would have to do is basically take Alamax every day, and they not only could not get the virus in the first place, but if they get it, their pap smear will turn back to normal. And we see it happen all the time where they go and do a acetic acid test, a colposcopy, a biopsy, and all of this, and the doctor says, I don't know what you did, but your pap smear is normal now. Or we can't find any evidence you've had a breakout in 2 years, and the woman smiles, I've been taking Alamax. So those are the kind of stories we get all the time. People say, you're kidding, it's that simple? I'm going on an airliner, somebody says, and I want to fly to XYZ Europe, where people are coming in from Sierra Leone and elsewhere, and they're worried about Ebola. Wear one of our NIOSH masks, get the defense wipes, and start taking Alamax. If you have this in your system, the bugs try to jump on we call airline free flyer miles on your body to start infecting you, and unless there's a sufficient number of bugs that can survive your body's environment, called an inoculum, that's the fancy medical term, they can't create a disease state called Ebola, which is eventually going to alarm your immune system to dump out cytokines and complement and make you bleed to death. That doesn't need to happen. If you simply take Alamax, it doesn't matter what pathogen. It could be avian flu, swine flu, Ebola, methicillin-resistant Staph aureus, whatever. So it doesn't matter. If you're taking Alamax, it's a universal antipathogenic. So, Bobby, as we head into the fall season, and people starting to sneeze and cough already, as school's starting, as we move into the Ebola season, where Africa is going to shut down in the next 30 to 60 days, and it's going to destroy their economy. Their economy is already deep sixing already. We know Americans are terrified of this. They simply need to start taking Alamax, taking normal, we call hygiene measures. Wash your hands, use the defense wipes, wear a mask if you're in a public place like going to a stadium or an airport where you know the government's not going to do proper things to protect you. And if you're traveling internationally, realize that you're in a culture tube where they have no air filters and no chain of custody to send it off to a CDC-certified lab. I presented this to the FBI and CDC director for bioterrorism for this country, America, and the knucklehead evil bastards wouldn't listen. So, as you know, I don't have a lot of patience with stupidity, and I call it straight up. And taking Alamax is the height of not stupidity. This is something, if you take it every day, your body's going to thank you and high five and say, hey, wonder why my joints don't hurt anymore. It's because your total load of what we call endotoxins, from bacteria in your gut to bacteria in your lymphatic system to viruses, it drops, so your joints aren't on fire. I say, this is strange. How come I don't hurt? Because I take my Alamax. It's because you're reducing your endotoxin load. That's that simple. So people years ago we discovered, say, why are people saying that they take Alamax? And they weren't even taking other anti-inflammatories. They just told us that their pain was going. And I went back and researched and said, this is what it is. It's real simple. Amazing, isn't it?
It is pretty amazing, Dr. Bill. I mean, you're talking about something, taking one pill a day to protect your health and to keep yourself healthy. And, you were going into some more details about, infections, diseases, and, stories that you've heard. But I personally take the Alamax myself every single day to not get, the common colds, flus, and sicknesses that I find everybody around me is, getting.
Well,
we are
I get calls
going
all the time
into
about...
cold.
I get calls all the time about people that are terrified about Lyme disease. First thing you do is make yourself Lyme impervious. So if you're out in tick country, and remember now, any biting insect can do a partial blood meal, can transfer any infection. Whether it's chikungunya, West Nile virus, HIV, whatever, potentially, and again, this is a potential, any insect that can get a partial blood meal and bite you can transfer that infection. But if you have in your system already the universal antipathogenic Alamed, your body says, we got you. We got special forces here. As soon as you come puncture through the body into the capillary blood bed, the special forces guys called Alamax penetrate through the pathogen, the cell wall of the bacteria, the viral capsid in there. They're gone. They're like history. And that's what's important. People should understand this is an arm of your immune system, like you hiring a contract bunch of crack special forces to make sure nobody gets into the border of your body and starts to cause havoc.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a good way to put it. So, the allicin, for those of you who don't know, it comes from garlic. It's, the antimicrobial part of the garlic bulb, though. So it's antibacterial, fungal, and viral. And it is. It's, not comparison to anything else on the market. And there's, nothing like it that you can, but you can use it for almost anything, as you've experienced, Dr. Bill, and I've been using myself and selling and promoting for 10 years. It's really an amazing product. I say, we always talk about having it in people's stocking stuffers come the holidays with the creams and the liquids and the capsules. There's so many different uses for it. So it's definitely something to give a try and, see if your body feels better. You'll notice your toenail fungus will start going away, or your finger fungus, eczema.
Even when you don't apply it. Even when you don't apply it. Well, one of the first times we had this years ago, when we started marketing Alamax, is we had people say, Doc, I can't explain this. I said, why? He said, well, I'm taking Alamax every day, but my toenail fungus, even the doctors were using real powerful antifungals, like, Nizoral and Nystatin, and, even some of the newer ones now that are around, like Caspofungin. And they're taking these really dangerous antifungals, and they couldn't get rid of it. Even topicals, putting all kinds of garbage on there. And as soon as they were taking Alamax over a period of 2 or 3 months, they said, my toenail fungus is gone. How did that happen? I have normal nails. They'd been to podiatrists and everybody, and nobody could get it solved. And they were taking it just by mouth. They won't even put it topically on their toes. So we hear these kind of stories all the time. We see the same thing with people with chronic diverticulosis, which is grumbly, inflammatory little pockets in their descending sigmoid colon. And they start taking it, all of a sudden they say after 3-4 months, they stop having achy pain and the grumbly kind of fever and chills, indicating they're having basically like an appendicitis on the left side of their bowel. That's how effective this is.
They don't even notice. I mean, sometimes people start taking it, and it's just for building
takes immunity, a while.
And they do. They start to feel better. They're not even.
Yeah, it takes a while, but it works. It's amazing. We have specials, by the way, coming on this weekend, Friday to Monday, and always specials for Alamax and Alamed. Alamax cream, drops, liquid cream, amazing. Welcome back, and we're joined by Ed Brown, and we try to explore technologies that are going to amplify your life. Every day I worked up over time from 10 minutes a day on the lower energy on my triplanar exercise, motion machine, vibrational exercise, 10 minutes a day, and I was doing that for years. And now I'm doing 30 to 60 minutes on the highest energy possible, and I have a resistance bands I use called body elastic bands with a gymnastic bar attached to the ceiling, so I get a very, very vigorous workout. Raises the heart rate. It's what we call circuit training. I call it vibrational yoga calisthenics, basically, because I'm getting vibrational resistance, stimulating the Golgi tendon apparatus, muscle contraction, range of motion of every muscle group in the entire body, elevated heart rate because of circuit training, and resistance, which literally allows you to get non-traumatic damage and a stimulation of muscle growth, plus improves blood flow, increased dynamic compression of the crystals of your bones, so it increases strength, readjustment of your proprioception sensitivity level to protect you from balance problems and control muscle firing around joints. I mean, it really is the universal exercise, and I tell people when they get one of these vibrational exercise machines, and now we have a whole range of them. We have the VibaCore 1000, 3000, 5000, a whole series of other machines, and why don't you talk about some of the different machines that are available, because there's so many now at this vibrational superstore. You even have a vibrational cage. You can actually create an entire floor with panels that snap together, so you can do a yoga exercise with a whole room of people literally vibrating while they're doing yoga, or any other type of exercise. It's pretty neat, and it completely transforms what exercise does to your body, your hormone release, your lymphatics, your bone and muscle strength, your position sense, we call central core stabilizing effect. It really is pretty amazing, isn't it?
Oh yeah, Dr. Deagle, how are you? Sorry about that. Yeah, it is. It's pretty awesome, and there's a lot of different types of vibrations out there. When you go to the local show or you go to the store, you think it's just a platform vibrating, but they're actually doing a lot of different things. There's sonic vibration, which in my opinion is the best. Basically, you're standing on a speaker, and the speaker is creating sound vibration for your body. That's
pretty amazing. That's the most gentle and also the most advanced and powerful. Is that, and what's it called? It's called the Vibra.
That one there, the sound vibration is actually called sonic vibration. It's turbosonic sonic vibration.
Sonic vibration. Now, one of my favorites is the triplanar trimotion device also, and you can get into higher energies. And also we have the devices that are just a tilt as well. The one with the higher vibration is more effective at strengthening and at stimulating weight loss and hormonal release like growth hormone, pumping your lymphatics, etc. And of course, with these other devices that are available, many of them you can do resistance exercise or calisthenics, a full range of motion at the same time, which has a dramatic blowout effect in terms of restoring your health to what we call younger age periods, when you're, a lot stronger. It pops your joints back into place like microchiropractic. It's like Pilates. It does so many things to your body. It's just hard to catalog them all, and it even resets your set point for defending a lower weight.
Yeah, exactly. You're actually besides when you're standing on the vibrational platform, a signal goes from your brain to the muscles to restabilize, and it's making them involuntarily contract. So by just standing on the platform, you're working over 120 muscles at one time effortlessly, which is amazing.
Right.
You're also getting amazing lymphatic drainage that's going to help you detoxify your body. And your brain is bringing out, you're letting loose growth hormone, serotonin, that feel-good chemical. So just, using the machine, besides working your body, detoxifying it, it's going to make you feel amazing.
Right, and a lot of people, when they start, and I've had people that step on it, they think, that's nothing, there's no exercise. I said, okay, stand on it. And you turn it on, especially not even the high energy, but turn it on, and they go, I'm dizzy, my heart's racing. I'm thinking, because it's making you pump your blood and lymphatics, and it's making you... I said, this is hard. I said, well, try to do exercise on it. Try to do a full squat. Try to do stretch with resistance bands. Try to do every range of motion you can imagine, including power crunches. And then see while you're going through a circuit training, because you're going through one motion to another continuously. You're not stopping. And that's serious exercise. If you want to do anything afterward, tennis, treadmill, cycling, whatever you want to do, football, hockey, whatever, vibrational exercise is going to protect you from injuries. It's going to strengthen all your muscle groups. It's going to increase muscle protection because you've got increased neurological activity controlling motion and vectors of force around the joints. And it's going to strengthen the connective tissue and the bones. It does all these things. It's that amazing. So, I tell people you've got to get a vibrational equipment. If you want to stay healthy, you've got to exercise. They call it vitamin VX. And now with the Vibrational Superstore, there is no limit. This is the largest vibrational superstore on planet Earth, and we ship everywhere in the world. So you can be in Australia, South Africa, Shanghai. We'll ship to you. And this is the best equipment you can get.
I had a woman yesterday. She came on the site, and I gave her a price, and she's like, how could you do it for so much less than everybody else is doing it? And I'd say, we sell about 60 platforms a month, so we get a discount. We pass that on to our customers.
Right.
But another thing that's really important with the site is there are a lot of different types of vibrations out there. For some people, you want to get a spiral machine. Linear machine's not going to even be very helpful to them. It could actually be harmful to them. So it's very important you pick out the right type of vibration machine. On the bottom of your website there, if they go to our link, which is for, or you can go right to our site, it's discountvibrations.com.
Yeah.
When you go to the site, there's going to be a 22-page quiz. And when you take that, it's going to ask you some questions about your health and who's going to be using the machine, weight, and everything. And it'll pick out the exact machine that's best for you and your family. So.
Yeah, and what I like to do is have them, when you do that, make sure you're sent by Dr. Bill and Nutrimedical. But if you go directly to the hyperlink directly of our products list pages, they'll actually get the cookies so they'll know it came from us. That's important. That's how we fund this program. That's how we are able to get a lot of materials out, write books, pay for our live stream channel, do all the other things so we can provide these services free to you so you can get the best information on every topic from geopolitical, wellness topics, etc., because we have this capacity to do this for you. And you also get the devices at the best prices. I think yesterday one of our customers actually got one of the devices, what it's called, a VTX 500. Tell us about that.
They got the Vibe. Yeah, yesterday one of your customers had bought the Vibatrim, the VT 500. That's the newest, most powerful spiral machine out there. That's going to be great for lymphatic drainage, muscle building, bone density, weight loss, tightening of the skin, and overall blood circulation.
Yeah, that's pretty remarkable. Now, I like to marry that with the idea of the ProLine infrared sauna. I hear people, in fact, I had a question the other day of somebody saying they were thinking about getting a whole set of pads, of lumen photon pads, to try to detox. They said, look, get a lumen, put it on the target area, get a ProLine sauna. If you want infrared light therapy for detox, for improving circulation, for increasing nitric oxide up to 40% within a week of half an hour a day, get a ProLine infrared sauna, zero electromagnetic frequency pollution, very powerful, more powerful and more effective than the old style steam saunas that can burn you. These at 120 degrees are far more penetrating. Back in a moment. Welcome back, and when we talk about these technologies in such glowing terms, people, unless they start using it, they don't really understand just how dramatic it is. I want to use an example of one I had a few years ago using a vibrational platform, and it was one of the simple tilt table called a VibraSlim, one of the ones we still sell through another site. But, the vibrational superstore that you have is the ultimate. And you give amazing prices, too. I mean, you can beat anybody on the planet in terms of prices and delivery anywhere on Earth. And we had one couple, they said, well, we want to get Grandpa because he can't get out of his chair. And he can't walk even with a walker because he's so weak. I said, well, what you do is why don't you get one relative and the other on the other side of him, just prop him up and hold him up there while he's getting vibrated. Get him to do a partial squat, partial bend over, partial this and that. After about just a week or so, he was getting out of his chair. He was going up and down stairs. He wanted to go to the mall. People don't realize what this does to you. And sometimes people have got what I call a pre-existing weakness, or they've got a partial tear of a meniscus, or they've got a rotator cuff that's not good because it's jamming up because they've got abnormal force vectors around the shoulder. You start doing resistance bands on a VibraSlim or VibraCore or one of these new sonic machines, your body starts to kind of protect the joint, stimulate blood flow, stimulate healing, regeneration, and you take people who are inactive or are on their way to getting an injury. We're not even talking about people that look like athletes. For example, remember Gronkowski of the Patriots? This guy was a monster, but the problem is he had muscle imbalance because he wasn't doing enough proprioceptive exercise to protect his joints. So he got his foot planted the wrong way. Somebody hit him, probably while he had a foot plant when he was running, and he tore his ACL. Now, if he had proper proprioceptive training on a VibraSlim and was doing balance training and exercises, squats, etc., he would have had force vector control around those joints, and he wouldn't get injured. He would have had stronger connective tissue strength. He would have had better muscle balance, we call vector control. And he wouldn't have ended up with a sports medicine injury that took him out of the game, and probably was the reason why the Patriots weren't in the Super Bowl. Because Gronkowski is probably the most powerful weapon that the Patriots had other than their quarterback. That's a good example. Now we take the senior citizen that's 85 years of age and they can't get out of the chair a week, and all of a sudden they want to go to the mall. That's pretty neat, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I mean, these machines, a lot of people ask me too, like where, I've never heard of these before. Where are they coming from? Well, up in about 10 years ago, you couldn't touch one of these machines for less than $10,000. They were basically being used by the Olympic athletes, pro sports teams, and they were about $10,000 a piece. They were untouchable.
Right.
About 5 years ago, they started making them more for the residential or lighter commercial use, where you can get something decent for $2,000.
Right, like the VT500 that someone bought yesterday. I think it cost them just slightly over $2,000. That machine, even 2 or 3 years ago, would have been probably $5,000 or $6,000.
Oh, easily,
right?
Easily. I mean, that's a 1,600 watt machine. It's all commercial grade DC motors. I mean, it's they've dropped dramatically in price, and the benefits that you can get from that.
Even the Sonic used to be, even just a year ago, $20,000. You can get now a Sonic machine for $6,000, not $20,000. These are the most advanced vibrational exercise machines on the planet. You can even have therapeutics, what's called infrasonic healing frequencies, put through the machine, right through your entire body.
Yeah, the Sonics are pretty incredible. I mean, back even just 3-4 years ago, you could have touched a Sonic machine for less than $12,000-$15,000.
Right.
That one there, it's about, they have one there that's $6,000. But what that'll do for your body, I mean, it's rejuvenating the cells, helps with the stem cell rejuvenation of the body. The chemicals coming from the brain, the serotonin, the growth hormone release. You feel euphoric from it. It's really an amazing piece of machinery.
We're getting a little noise there from your cell phone. I don't know if it's if you're outside in the wind or you're surfing or I don't know what you're doing, but I hear some noise.
Yeah, that's better now. Go ahead.
There you go. Yeah, I know what it was. You were on a vibrational platform while you were talking. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Proline Sauna. I tell people, if you want to burn off, and even a small person, 500 to 700 calories in 30 minutes, if you want to mobilize nitric oxide to lower blood pressure, a lot of people don't realize what's hypertension. Hypertension is lack of nitric oxide, which basically induces vasospasm, venous congestion because of the arteriolar spasm, decreased oxygen delivery, nutrient delivery to tissues. And it's simply a matter that as you start raising nitric oxide, as you start correcting each of these things like body magnesium, which we give you our special magnesium glycinate malate, magnesium taurate, magnesium potassium citrate, use Supernox, which is arginine with actinose, etc. When you use the right nutraceuticals along with vibrational exercise, which helps as well, to release nitric oxide, infrared sauna is the most powerful way to get rid of toxins, heavy metals, chemicals, and to open up your nitric oxide. How can I say it? Why would people want to take half a dozen or a dozen drugs to deal with multiple health problems when they can simply exercise and do infrared sauna? Why? Why would they do that? Why would they do that to their body when really they can't even detoxify these drugs? They can't get the garbage out that's in their food, air, and water that's bioaccumulating, causing the illness, and yet they want to pop a pill so their numbers will change when their doctor will smile and say, here's another script. I mean, how stupid is that?
Well, that's what the doctor tells them that they need, and they just kind of, whatever the doctor says is right. So that's
right. Well, the reason is because MD stands for either Mordo or Magnificent Deity. It depends on the day. Pretty bad, eh? But having been here, see, I can say those things. People say, "How can you say those things, Dr. Deagle?" Because it's the truth. It's the truth. It's quick and dirty. It's if you were to tell people like I am trying to evangelize people on taking care of their health, drinking clean water, taking nutraceuticals, eating a diet, taking things like glycemics to get your blood sugar under control, and Carbo Block, and Lipoflush, and Diabetoline, which we have double-blind placebo-controlled trials saying it's superior to metformin, which won't cause lactic acidosis. And then when I tell them about virus live in Proline Sauna, they say, you mean if I do this stuff, I'll age slower, I'll reverse aging? Yes, because you're going to get all the crap out of your body. I mean, We got cigarette smokers that have stopped smoking 10 years, 20 years before. And I remember we had a story we talked about a few months ago where the wife was totally angry with the husband because we all worked in the room in the sauna, in the infrared sauna, and she could smell the damn cigarettes again. She said, "What are you doing? You're smoking, aren't you?" And it was the cigarette smoke, tar and dye coming out of his body after 20 years. That's how crazy this is.
Yep.
And people wonder why. How did somebody get cancer? I mean, duh. How did they get heart disease? How did they get dementia? They got it because the crap they have in their body from smoking, drinking, eating bad food, just living in a toxic world, they didn't get out. And they wonder why they got ill. It's like, duh. Come on, really. Your doctor's not going to address this because your knucklehead doctor's not going to worry about the fact that you've lived in a toxic world for the past 60 years or 50 years or 70 years. Why do they expect you to be fine? Oh, your problem is you don't have 12 drugs, you only have 10. That's your problem. And by the way, they don't look at even the cytochrome systems for detoxifying, so they have no idea if they give two drugs that interfere with the same detox cytochrome system, they're going to make you so damn toxic you're going to get a cardiac arrhythmia or induce cancer, do all kinds of other nasty stuff that'll make your day really bad. But when you use Proline Sauna, when you use vibrational exercise, when you eat good healthy food, when you detox and drink clean filtered water, your body says, high five, have a great day. Let's make nitric oxide. Let's open up the arteries. Let's perfuse everything, including the naughty bits, like they say in Monty Python, so you can still have sex. Let's perfuse your back of your eyes so you don't get retinopathy. Let's lower insulin resistance, which, by the way, also happens with vibrational exercise. So we get diabetics and they go on vibrational exercise and sauna, and all of a sudden they say, hey, I don't need so much insulin anymore. In fact, I don't need any. And my diabetic drugs, I'm starting to drop. It's because you're now taking away the toxins that are causing diabetic insulin resistance. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I mean, we talk about it all the time over in Asia. It's mandatory that everyone has saunas there.
Yeah, if you don't have, the Asians are smart. If you live in a toxic world with no industrial or occupational risk exposure legislation, that's why you can get a plant up in 90 days and it takes 5 years here. But the downside is, if you don't detox in these countries like in Beijing and so on, you're going to die, as they say with Bruce Willis, you're going to die hard.
Yeah, so you can call if you have any questions. It's discountvibrations.com at 1-800-975-6981. Again, 1-800.
Welcome back, and we're trying to be a beacon of asking the best questions, giving you the best answers. And one of those is the miracle mineral of life called magnesium. This would not be a green plant without magnesium. It is the center of photosynthesis. It's also the most important intracellular mineral. In fact, you can't even maintain potassium, which is life-supporting, unless you have adequate magnesium in your cells. For every 10,000 magnesium ions inside the average cell, there's one calcium ion let in through a gate called a calcium ion channel and then kicked back out of the cell like a, you want to call a subcontractor that's not allowed to stay around the job site. That's important. People don't understand that many chronic conditions, including anxiety, depression, hypertension, diabetes, cancer, the inability to tolerate stress. I mean, there's 300 enzymes that are tied to magnesium. And then we have all the other trace minerals that are present in the Dead Sea, that are in the ancient waters that literally were present on the planet Earth when life was created by the Creator God. What we have right now, though, is a soil depleted of things like selenium. If you're selenium depleted, you can't even convert T4 to T3 in your peripheral tissues. But all of these enzymes require the master mineral of magnesium to be in your cells in the first place. You can't make glutathione peroxidase, you can't make DNA, you can't protect your cells from oxidative free radicals like hydroperoxy radical with glutathione peroxidase. So it's that important. And so to give us more information on that, we have the products that MG12 Tom Strader makes, which includes MagnaSoothe, which I have the MagnaSoothe oil. We have the MagnaSmooth, which is the Arnica Montana cream with essential oil and minerals that I use every day when I get a deep tissue massage every week. The Magna Charge, which includes bicarbonate. You'll actually feel the electrical tingle, the zap, after a shower or bath. And basically at each acupuncture or energy point, you'll feel the energy literally discharging through those sites and the minerals zipping in to stop muscle cramps. And of course the transdermal is a very important way of getting magnesium into the body, plus other trace minerals. 77 other trace minerals, 14 of them only present in the Dead Sea that are not present in regular ocean water anymore. So, Tom, tell us about it. And the miracle of magnesium is really important. I tell people it is so simple to just incorporate the Magna soap, the Magna Charge, the magnesium oil into your lifestyle. It's a no-brainer, isn't it? Except ours are except our mineral pills. The ones we have in our minerals are actually, or for oral absorption, are trax amino acid chelates. So they don't go through the regular.
I'll say that.
Yeah, totally different. Now it's complementary though, and I tell people the reason is you want transdermal and you want oral, but there's a maximum amount that you can get through the GI tract. Even with the very most advanced forms like our magnesium potassium citrate or our magnesium glycinate malate, you can take a lot, but there is a tolerance limit. But when you're combining that with transdermal, you're going to get higher tissue levels. One of the biggest problems of our society is basically mineral deficiency. If you were to describe what is the biggest plague on America, the toxins would come next, but the first is mineral deficiencies. Because when you have enough minerals, you can deal with toxins. If you don't, you're going to massively absorb mercury, arsenic, lead, and Fukushima radiation, cesium-137, strontium-90. You're going to suck these into your body because you're magnesium depleted. So when people say, well, how do I block Fukushima? Yeah, you want to take our radiation detox like Keto Max to pull the radioisotopes. But you've got to get your total body magnesium, potassium, and other minerals elevated to a level where your body isn't going to suck up toxic radiotoxins. That's important, and people don't realize the entire world is now we're under radiotherapy. And you have to block it by increasing total body magnesium levels and other trace minerals so that your body is protected.
Well, Dr. Bill, when I started using the product, it changed my life literally. I had gotten to the point that I could not walk or stand more than 5 to 10 minutes at a time. My sciatica nerve was in constant, constricted in a cramp. I carried a TENS unit around in my pocket to relieve the pain. I carried a 5-gallon bucket around by the handle on my job sites to turn upside down just to sit down to get the tears out of my eyes. And they were wanting to shave off the two bulging discs at L4 and L5. And I said, I'm not going to do this. And a friend of mine at church introduced me to MagnaSuit, the Dead Sea minerals. And I started soaking in the bath crystals, the salts. I started using the magnesium oil into my back. Started using the magnesium soap, the magnesium shampoo, the magnesium cream. And gradually I started getting better, and in 4 weeks I walked down the hall one morning and I realized I have no more pain. And I use the product every day. I rub it into my torso and into my stomach, into my lower back, my shoulders, and my neck. And also I do not have any more irregularity in my heartbeat. It calmed my heart down. And it also
were you having premature atrial contractions? Or premature, or were you having atrial fibrillation?
It was my heart would race. It would go up to about 140 beats a minute.
Yeah, that
and
indicates you're having.
I would put my head down between my knees to slow it down.
Yeah, that's PAT, which is just a precursor of atrial fibrillation. And the knucklehead doctors think if you have that, you got to buy taking anticoagulants for the rest of your life. No, how about measuring and getting your total body magnesium up so it just goes away? How about that?
And it does. I mean,
stupid
that's
doctors,
the easier
by the way.
thing to do. And it's just like people that when they go into the hospital with a heart attack in the emergency room, they start them on an IV drip of magnesium. Well, why do you wait till you have a heart attack before you start supplementing magnesium?
And you know who did a lot of the initial research and discovery of that was me. Back in 1978 when I was a resident in internal family medicine at the University of Calgary. And I contacted Eisenberg in Seattle where they're doing research for the Advanced Cardiac Life Support, ACLS, protocol manuals with the American Heart Association. And I read back the research from the University of Texas A&M where they're doing heart ligation studies and realized that the heart muscle was magnesium depleted where they had heart attacks. And we know now if you give somebody magnesium in the middle of a heart attack, you dramatically reduce the zone of permanent damage and akinesis of the heart on echogram, a transesophageal echo. We know if you give it to somebody who's having a stroke or even had a spinal cord contusion so they don't end up with gliosis of the cord or intracranial hypertension, it stops it. I mean, Dr. Russell Blaylock talks about this. So I tell people, if you're under stress, you need the anti-stress called magnesium. If you can get your magnesium high enough, you can literally almost tolerate any kind of stress. Radiation stress, emotional stress, biochemical stress, infection stress, job loss stress. You need magnesium, period. I mean, it's just like a no-brainer. Hit the big MG button. Magnesium is what you need.
Amen. You couldn't have said it better.
Yeah, and once you have that, you can add other things. You can deal with infection. You can deal with other minerals. The other trace minerals are present. And I said the other trace minerals help to complete what we're taking when we take our Vitamin Mineral Max and Minerals Plus. And, of course,
and
our Ageless Energize and so on.
What you just said about the other minerals is 20 essential other minerals that are in the Dead Sea that work synergistically with magnesium. Magnesium chloride being the master mineral, and it's like the master key that unlocks the lock of all the other minerals to work synergistically together.
One of the problems is we don't want to admit that we don't know. And when I don't know, I'll admit it and say, hey, I don't know what every one of these other minerals does, literally probably hundreds of reactions. We know that magnesium works in at least 300 enzymes. What about all the other minerals? For example, most people aren't aware that when you end up with somebody with depression, you need molybdenum in order to proper methylate to get rid of heavy metals or to even convert amino acids to neurotransmitters to stop depression and panic attacks. But if you don't have adequate magnesium along with the molybdenum, it's not going to work. Duh. And same with manganese. Manganese is necessary with thiamine to get your mitochondria to work to create ATP and NADH, nicotine adenine dinucleotide hydride. So if you don't have adequate magnesium, your mitochondria don't work. They literally shut down. That's pretty significant, isn't it?
Yes, sir. And I'll tell you the other thing it did for me was I kept having twitches in my left eye, lid, my left facial muscle, and my left bicep. And I found out later that that's the result of having not enough magnesium in my system, and that was causing the muscle twitching and also the cramps and the spasms that I was having every day. And I don't have any of that anymore.
Right. Same with hypertension. We see a lot of people with hypertension. Doctor whips out script. You need diuretics, will cause more electrolyte problems, which also thicken your blood, increase the rheologic thickness. No, you need magnesium. You need things to relax and produce nitric oxide. You need things to detox the heavy metals. And again, when you put the good minerals in, the bad ones leave. Real simple stuff, isn't it? It's like getting good tenants in your apartment house instead of bad tenants. They don't strip the wallpaper from the walls. They don't destroy the kitchen of your body. You want good tenants. That's good minerals in your cells, not bad minerals. Magnesium and all its buddies.
Yes, sir. And the other thing I found out, it detoxified my body and put the fat cells that were encapsulated in certain areas of underneath my skin, they dissolved and went away.
Yeah, those lipomas. It does so many things. We could talk about this for hours, and we'll have you back on next week, so stay right there, Tom. We'll be back in a moment. Hour number 3, Tim Alexander Major Update and Chris Harris Nuclear Update. I'm on Hour 2 tonight as an update on the Rents Network program, Hour 2, 8 o'clock Pacific.
Do good people ever want to call